Hi everyone, my name is Shazia Khan and I am the head of law for UK Varsity. I've been teaching law on the undergraduate programs and postgraduate law programs for the last 16 years at a variety of different institutions. I have a wide range of experience practicing law and dealing with client cases and representing clients at court. I've got a degree in international law and a master's in European law and also a postgraduate diploma certificate in education. We'll be now looking at the unit which is academic and research skills for law 3.30, and we'll be looking at the key terminology and we'll be looking at the learning outcome 1 today, which is to be able to assess our own academic competencies. So we'll go on now to look at the other elements of learning outcome 1. So we'll be covering assessing our own academic strengths and weaknesses, including academic English language skills. We'll also be looking at setting targets for improvement using the self-assessment. So 1.1, assess own academic strengths and weaknesses, including academic English language skills. So we've got a video here on YouTube in regards to the learning outcome 1, and we'll watch that now.
Hi, it's your American English teacher, Gabby from GoNaturalEnglish.com. Today we're going to test your English skills, but this test is not your typical English test. See, there are no right or wrong answers. It's an assessment of your English level, and I need you to be honest about what you can and cannot yet do. The purpose of taking this test is to help you understand how far you've come and how far you have to go. If our goal is English fluency, confidence in speaking skills, and the ability to understand native English speakers, then it's important to see where you are now and how to get to your goals, how to achieve your English speaking goals. So I'd like to ask you to take this test with me if you are up to the challenge. All right, well, let's begin the quiz and see how you do. For each of these questions, I'm going to ask you to rate yourself. Would you say rarely, sometimes, or often? Here we go. Number 1, you can speak English without translating in your head. Rarely, sometimes, or often. If you have to stop to translate into your native language before you speak English, this is a real problem for many reasons. First of all, it really slows you down because you have to translate, which is actually a lot of work. And second, the problem is that a lot of words and phrases lose their meaning or get lost in translation. So it's quite dangerous to do this actually, because you might not get the true feeling of a word when you translate. Number 2, you make very few errors, and when you do, you can catch your own mistakes. Rarely, sometimes, or often. You know that you're becoming aware of English and mastering English when you can actually catch your own mistakes. Look, everybody makes mistakes, even native English speakers, even fluent English speakers, even advanced English speakers. We all make mistakes at some point, but the important thing is to stop yourself and correct yourself. Be aware that you're making mistakes and improve on them. Now, if you're still learning, if you make a lot of mistakes, you're going to need help to catch your mistakes and correct them. 3, you can use a wide variety of phrases and expressions, including phrasal verbs, idiom, and sometimes slang. Rarely, sometimes, or often. The trouble is, when you're an intermediate English learner, you often reuse the same vocabulary over and over. And while this may get your point across, it's not as expressive and you don't have as many options. And you may not understand what native English speakers are saying when they use more interesting or advanced or colloquial expressions. 4, you can talk about technical or specific topics. This is important if you're using English in your career, maybe a specific field like science or medicine or technology. If you can't talk about technical aspects of your career in English, then that's a problem. And if you can't talk about specific interests that you're into with friends who speak English, that could be a problem too. You'll be stuck at a lower level of English if you can only make small talk, which is important, but we want to be able to communicate in a variety of situations. 5, you can use all grammar tenses, past, present, and future, easily with confidence. Rarely, sometimes, or often. In order to express yourself fully, we need to have mastery of a full range of grammatical expressions. So if you're not really confident about all the tenses yet, then keep going. Keep practicing until you can use them all with ease. Question 6, native and non-native English speakers are impressed by your English. Rarely, sometimes, or often. When someone is impressed by your English, they might say that you have great English skills, but just someone telling you that you're good at English doesn't necessarily mean that you really are good at English. They might just be giving you a compliment or wanting to encourage you, or they might be sincere and you might be really good at English. You know someone's really impressed when they understand what you're saying, and you can communicate what you want to express with ease. Maybe you help other people to understand who you are and what you do and what your goals are. Maybe you even teach people other things in English. If you can impress people with the way that you express yourself using advanced vocabulary and interesting idiomatic expressions, then you are at the advanced level of English. 7, you understand humor and jokes in English the way a native speaker would. Have you ever been in a conversation, sitting around with a group of friends, someone tells a joke and everyone laughs, but you just don't get it? And maybe it's because you didn't get the joke in English. Well, English is much deeper than just vocabulary and grammar. It's cultural, and humor is part of culture too. So we need to learn what people might consider funny in English as well as just grammar rules and other things like that. Once you understand why people are laughing, you're at the advanced level of English. And if you can tell jokes yourself, you're at the advanced level of English. 8, you don't usually get stuck in English, but when you do, you find a way around it. If you don't know a specific vocabulary word, you're able to describe it in other words and get your point across or get other people to understand you. Would you say rarely, sometimes, or often? This is important because we all forget words sometimes. We all get a little brain fog and can't think of a specific word, but the important thing is that you don't stop trying, that you keep trying to get your point across with other words, and you have other words to do that. Number 9, you are not uncomfortable or not very afraid of speaking English with native English speakers. Rarely, sometimes, or often. Fear is a big part of what holds us back with English fluency, because if you're afraid to approach native speakers or you're afraid to participate in conversations with native speakers, you don't get that practice that you really need. And so exposure and immersion to native English will help you break through to fluency. Number 10, you feel like you can express your true self in English. You don't feel fake. You feel natural. Rarely, sometimes, or often. This is really important Even though sometimes people say that when they speak another language, they feel like another person, this is sometimes a side of you that comes out through the new language. It doesn't mean that it's fake, it's just another part of your natural self. So if you can express that, that means you've mastered English. If you feel like you're stuck or people don't really know who you truly are in English, then that can be something to work on. 11. English speakers easily understand you. This is about your pronunciation. It's important that other people understand you. Also, of course, you have to understand other people, but in order to be fluent, you have to be understood as well. So if you notice that people are looking really confused when you speak English, or maybe you don't get a response that makes sense, it could be that you need to improve your pronunciation. Also, if people don't talk to you for a very long time, that could mean maybe they just don't want to tell you that they don't understand what you're saying. Number 12, you understand TV shows, movies, the news, materials intended for native English speakers without using subtitles. This is a big one. Many of you tell me that one of your goals in English is to be able to understand these materials like movies, TV shows, music, the news, all in English without the help of subtitles or reading along. So if you can do this, your English is advanced. Now, if you answered mostly, rarely, that means that we have quite a bit of work to do. Now, don't stress out because you have already come a long ways and you can do a lot. But it's a good idea to think about what your goals are in English and how you can improve your skills in order to reach those goals that are most important to you. If you answered mostly sometimes, then keep going. You're doing good work. You're on the road to fluency. And I'm sure that if you just keep going, you will break through to fluency soon. And if you answered mostly often, well, congratulations, you're doing a fantastic job, and you may already feel that you have broken through to fluency. Now, you might need to fine tune your skills a little bit. We're always learning new words and new ways of expressing ourselves in English as a second language, but you're doing a fantastic job, and I commend you for your efforts. So I hope that this helped you to understand your level of English and maybe to think about where you need to or want to improve your skills in the coming months. In order to reach your goals in English, like speaking fluently and with confidence, I've created the complete Go Natural English course that has helped thousands of English learners from over 134 countries to reach their goals in English together with my help and with our amazing community from all over the world. So if you would like to get more information about how the course works, the benefits, and the details like the price and how to join, then I highly suggest that you join the waitlist now at gonaturalelenglish.com/pre-reg. I only open registration a couple of times a year, so it's important that you get on the wait list to get a notification and information so that you don't miss your opportunity. All right, I hope to see you there. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.
So we've just watched this video in regards to improving our learning skills and English skills on Go Natural English, and it was looking at testing your English skills in regards to whether you really speak English sometimes or often, and they looked at things like, you know, how you pronounce your English, how you understand TV shows, how you understand grammar, looking at talking about technical terms and topics through English and try to develop your English. And it identified the different levels of English and how you can improve your English by attending these courses, but also by pronouncing and using the tips that were given in the video. So we're going to look at self-assessment now. So why self-assessment? And this is a quote by Lorna Earle, 2003, page 25. And he identified self-assessment as effective assessment empowers students to ask reflective questions and consider a range of strategies for learning. Students move forward in their learning when they can use their personal knowledge to construct meaning, have skills of self-mentoring to realize that they don't understand something and have ways of deciding what to do next. And academics have got different views about self-assessment. But when we look at student self-assessment, successful student self-assessment is sometimes the process of students evaluating their work to improve their understanding and learning strategy. And this is done in various formats, including things like writing reflections, drawing diagrams, recording audio or video, or using online tools. Self-assessment allows students to take control of their learning by setting learning goals and tracking progress and identifying the different areas they've got for any sort of improvements they need to make. It's also an important skill that can be used for all subjects, and it can be adapted to different age groups and abilities of the students. There are many reasons why self-assessment is important. Understanding some of them reasons can help to motivate college students to take time to assess their work. Some of the reasons and the 10 most important benefits are: self-assessment helps students take ownership of their own work. Also, it allows students to set goals and track their progress. Student self-assessment helps students identify areas for improvement. The big one is that it helps develop critical thinking skills, and that could be used towards doing assessments and things like that. Student self-assessment also encourages reflection on their own independent learning experience. It teaches students how to evaluate their work. It helps promote with authentic human-centered learning, and it prepares students for assessments. Student self-assessment also promotes metacognitive skills, so thinking about skills, and it encourages learners to be self-motivated and resourceful. So there are so many benefits of self-assessment, but it does identify that, you know, students are able to take their own learning into their own account. Also, the fact that they're able to, you know, prioritize things and manage their own learning. Sometimes students can self-assess by asking themselves questions as, what do I like doing? Do I like working with other people? What kind of work do I enjoy? And having a self-assessment checklist is really beneficial because it shows your progress over time. But also, you know, things like, if you do it regularly, students keep track of their progress and become more effective self-assessors. So think how you organize assessment, as we've just said, you know, the fact that you have to self-assess, do yourself a checklist. Students can track their progress over time and become more effective. How are you going to organize everything? So what skills do I need to work on most? My time management, what do I need to do to practice more? What would a good project that is challenging but builds my skills? What am I good at? Things like that. So these are, you know, ideas that you could put into place to try to improve your self-assessment. Purpose of assessment. So it increases learner autonomy, advanced understanding of the subject area. It alleviates the status of student from passive learner to assessor, demonstrates to students the concepts of subjectivity and judgment, and it enhances planning skills to ensure more effective task management. And there are the reasons that to carry out assessments throughout a course. Assessments should not just be conducting at the end of a course, you know, but should be used as a tool to track learners' progress and support them accordingly. So you identify what their strengths and weaknesses are. You're able to, you know, identify any sort of difficulties in reading, writing, things like that. And also, you know, you're able to understand the topic area for the student. Role of a student. The role of a student should be empowered to take control of and responsibility of their own learning. It's very important the student takes responsibility of their own learning and to self-direct their learning if safe and appropriate. They should be provided with the opportunities to develop their own practice and to work toward becoming more independent and reflective. To be not dependent on the teacher, but to develop their own learning. They should decide which strategies to use to achieve these goals. So things like teamwork is really important, that you're able to work in a team. Self-learning assistance from teachers. As we said, they need to become more independent, reflective, monitor their own learning over time. So use a reflective and metacognitive thinking and self-assessment tools that will help. Also evaluate their achievements. So things like, students should be provided with the right support to empower to take responsibility for their own learning. And, students on the level of achievement should be able to have confidence and competence, and any adjustments they need to be discussed with the tutors. So personal skills, time management, a really important personal skill to have in place. The important bit, number one, if you look at it, is important crisis, pressing problems, projects with close deadline, not urgent, preparation, planning, new opportunities, relationship building. Number three, not important, interruptions, some calls, some emails, some meetings. And number four, busy work, some calls, some emails, time wasters. Time management is perhaps the most important and challenging skill to develop as a student in an environment where nobody will tell you precisely what you should be doing, and when the art of planning, managing and meeting personal deadlines, both social and academic, must be mastered sooner rather than later. Some people like to plan things in early, in fine detail, so that everything is ready and there's plenty of time to do things. Others positively thrive on the pressure of meeting at a last-minute deadline. So, there are different areas that people work, and there are different ways that people work. A very important principle which is identified on the slides is the Pareto principle, 80-20 rule. And that looks at, is often used in a way to help students focus on their studying. The idea is that if a student can identify the 20% of material that will be on the test, they can focus their studying on the 20% and still get a good grade at the end of it. In language learning, it is the same. It means that they should learn and teach the most things to students, not the obscure rules and exceptions that students will hardly ever have to deal with. It states that in most areas in life, roughly 20% of the input is responsible for 80% of the output. And it identifies it in the diagram there. So do first, important, urgent, to the confirming the importance and urgency of these tasks. Do these tasks now, priorities according to their relative urgency. So time management is really important. Less urgent, not urgent, critical to success, planning, strategic thinking, deciding direction and aims, plan time slots and personal space for these tasks, and then delegate, not important, urgent, scrutinize and probe, demands, help or originators to reassess, wherever possible, reject and avoid these tasks, sensitivity and immediately, don't do, not important, not urgent, habitual, comforters, not true tasks, not productive, demotivational, minimize or cease altogether, plan to avoid these. Personal skills, time management, again, allocate your time effectively, as we've just stated, among these aspects of your life. So your family life, your finance, your health, your work. And think about, why am I doing this? What is the end goal, or what is my goal? Why will I succeed? What happens if I choose not to do it? So you look at your goals, your priorities, your strategies. If you prioritize family over work, then, that's how you allocate your time. If you prioritize your work over health. So these are for you to think about and prioritize yourself. Personal skills in responding to change. So you've got things like denial. So for example, you've got commitment, the neutral zone, resistant, exploration, So you've got, first of all, you've got endings, which is, if I ignore it, it will go away. Denial is, this will fail just like the last time. Resistance, another change. How can I manage this? Can we handle it? I don't have time for this. Exploration, what if I have to do it differently? Will my responsibilities change? How will I be measured? And then commitment, new beginnings. Let's get these bugs worked out. This should be an improvement. So these are responding to change, how individuals respond to change, and everyone responds differently. So, you know, people think, should I ignore it and it'll go away? Will I fail it if I do it the second time? You know, so these personal skills are so important to have in place. The SWOT analysis. A little bit more about the personal skills first before we go into SWOT analysis. Personal skills, it's things like, you know, working under pressure, being flexible, having time management skills. You know, there are many benefits of interpersonal skills, such as to improve, you know, self-awareness, self-confidence. So, you know, our personal skills are so important in regards to how we respond to change. The next one is looking at the personal SWOT analysis. And this, again, is a really important element of identifying our career goals, or identifying our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. A personal SWOT analysis is a tool used to evaluate your goals, your career goals. SWOT stands for, as we've mentioned, strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats, as on the diagram there. It considers all factors, whether positive, negative, external, or internal. Internal factors are elements you bring to the analysis, such as strengths and weaknesses. A personal SWOT analysis is very similar to a one for business, except that you focus on yourself and your goals. A personal SWOT analysis, however, may be more useful if you focus on specific goal or problem that you want to address. This is because we all have a number of very diverse goals. The skills and attributes that may help us towards one goal may be irrelevant or even a weakness in another context. A threat in one context could be unimportant in another context. Strengths are things like a strong attribute or inherent asset, which in the diagram states things like work experience, education, technical experience, transferable skills, personal characteristics, good networking contacts and associations, business groups. And it could be, what advantages do you have that others don't have? For example, as we mentioned, skills, education, connections. Weakness can be the quality or state of being weak, so lacking skill or proficiency. So what tasks do you usually avoid because you don't feel confident doing them? Things like lack of work experience, limited education, wrong major, limited technical knowledge, lack of job knowledge, weak interpersonal skills, negative personal characteristics. And then you've got opportunities. So is this a good chance for advancement or progress? What new technology can help? Or can you get help from others or from people via the internet? And that could be things like positive trends in your field, enhancing education fields in need of your skills, geography, ability to move, strengthening your network, utilizing skills in different ways, enhancing personal development. Then you've got threats. So what obstacles do you currently face? Negative trends in your field, competition in your field, training and education obstacles, limited advancement in the field, limited ability to develop, and limited positions in your area. I'll give you an example of a SWOT analysis example. In 2015, a value line SWOT analysis of the Coca-Cola company noted strengths such as its globally famous brand name, vast distribution network, and opportunities in emerging markets. However, it was also noted weaknesses and threats such as foreign currency fluctuations, growing public interest in healthy beverages, and competition from healthy beverage providers. In SWOT analysis, prompted the value line to pose some tough questions about Coca-Cola's strategy, but also to note that the company will probably remain a top-tier beverage provider that offered conservative investors a reliable source of income and a bit of capital gains exposure. 5 years later, the value line SWOT analysis proved effective as Coca-Cola remains the 6th strongest brand in the world as it is then. Coca-Cola shares traded ticker symbol as increasing the value of 60% during the 5 years after the analysis was completed. So it just shows that, you know, it does actually work, the SWOT analysis. 1.2, set targets for improvement using self-assessment. What is self-assessment? So self-assessment is your description of accomplishments related to the critical elements and performance standards identified in your performance plan. The assessment should provide the supervisor the clear picture of your performance and accomplishments. Self-assessments can have a dual role for the student to both assess the end product or outcomes of their learning, and also the process of learning, strategies, strengths, and areas for improvement. Getting started. So review your personal and professional goals. Short-term goals, usually less than 1 year. Long-term goals, 1 to 5 years. Review records of your work, emails, project files, feedback from supervisor or project manager, productivity records. And think SMART. SMART is the way to think about getting started and putting your professional goals into place. SMART goals. So we've got the SMART acronym, which means specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. And that table identifies each one. The SMART goals stands for, as we mentioned, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Defining these parameters as they pertain to your goal helps ensure that your objectives are attainable within a certain time frame. So specific is make sure your goals are focused and identify a tangible outcome. Without the specifics, your goal runs the risk of being too vague to achieve. Being more specific helps you identify what you want to achieve. You should also identify what resources you are going to leverage to achieve success. Measurable is the M. You should have some clear definition of the success. This will help you to evaluate achievement and also progress. This component often answers how much or how many and highlights how you know you achieved your goal. A is attainable. Your goal should be challenging but still reasonable to achieve. Reflecting on this component can reveal any potential barriers that you may need to overcome to realize success. Outline the steps you're planning to take to achieve your goal. R is relevant. This is about getting real with yourself and ensuring that you're trying to achieve this is worthwhile to you, determining if this is aligned to your values and if it is a priority focus for you. This helps you answer the why. T is time-bound. Every goal needs a target date, something what motivates you to really apply the focus and discipline necessary to achieve this. This answers when it's important to set a realistic time frame to achieve your goal and to ensure you don't get discouraged. These are some examples and non-examples of SMART goals in this diagram, which identifies it. For example, you know, I will read the chapter books by the end of the year. That's an example. I will score 90% higher of my on all my work. A non-example, I will score 100 AR points in February. I'll read at home for 3 hours every day. So an example that I've got in regards to the SMART goal is the specific one is it's someone running a marathon. So the specific for that is I'd like to start training every day to run a marathon. The measurable is I will use a fitness tracking device to track my training progress as my mileage increases. The attainable, I've already run half a mile marathon this year and have a solid baseline fitness level. The relevant, I value my health and wellness, and this fitness goal will help me sustain that. And the time bound is the marathon is in June of next year, so I must be ready for by then. Another example in regards to that is to a goal for writing a book. The specific for that is I have an idea for a story and I want to turn it into a novel. The measurable, it should be at least 100,000 words long, and I want to spend at least 3 hours each day working on it. The attainable is I'm retired, so I have more time for this project. I'm an avid reader and writer, so I know what makes a good story and a compelling read. The relevant is reading and writing have always been a passion of mine, which motivates me to become an author myself. And the time bound is that I'll start writing in the first week of July and finish my draft by December. So you know, you're giving yourself action points and action plans. So how good is your English? Take a test. So the FSET is where you would take a test which indicates your score, which indicates the level of your English, for example, beginner or advanced. There are different leveling systems in use around the world, and even a wider range of English tests around the world, which have implicit or explicit leveling systems built into the scoring. So the FSET is an official website, self-assessment grid from the Council of Europe. And if you want to know your English level on the SCEFR scale, which is standard in academic circles across Europe, the PDF is uploaded there. And it's the most reliable way to find out your English level, and it's well-designed academic test. And I'll just... So thank you for attending today's session, and that's all for today. And the next session we'll be doing is Learning Outcome 2, and thank you for your patience. Thank you.